hard walking over here. I'm a fucking mess, man.
What did you hit your head on?
It's complicated.
It's complicated. Yeah, this is going to be a really tough one for me to come up with a bet. We're already invested in the Lions +6. Drew's got Packers futures up to his tits. We don't know. We don't know. Like Rodgers hasn't looked that good.
I'm still trying to figure out what in the world was going on with Russell Douglas at the end there. That was the weirdest shit. Anyway.
The kick, but in the long run, the kick counts. But my takeaway is,
please, Packers by 3.
Rodgers hasn't looked good. The protection hasn't looked good.
No, Rodgers has not looked good.
But the Lions are kind of shitty right now.
They are not playing well. They are not playing well.
I think we're probably lucky to be within distance here. And Joey Knish had the best tweet, and he's who I go to for all my Detroit hot takes. But he said which my God, Jameson Williams is just as fast as I remember from the last time I watched him play in that college game a couple years back. Mm-hmm. But he said something along the lines of, I was ready to be really mad about that bullshit holding call or whatever. And then he's like, and then it had to be like the most painfully obvious holding ever, which it stinks. You can't even like get mad. Like they're going to call that every time. It's a really, really good play, like a well-designed play.
Yeah, it's blatant.
And when Williams caught the ball, I'm like, oh, that's a nice catch. But those guys have angles on them. And then he just put on the nos. And
yeah.
Oh, it's Fast and Furious thing where you hit the buttons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, like this could be out of reach. Packers like in cruise control, which would have made it even more fun to bet line second half. But it's not. You're not gaining any equity whatsoever. If you got Lions +6, that's still best possible number in hand at a reasonable stake. So I think I'm sitting on it.
What do you think of this total? So right now,
it's really close. If it was lower, I would have played the over, but 23.5 is high, man.
I haven't been watching the live lines at all. I was surprised it came in this high. I guess
I was too. I wanted to play the over too, but this is too big of a number.
Yeah, I'm not super psyched about this under. I mean, these teams have been moving. They've been in the red zone 3 times, obviously 0 for 3 with all the field goals. But between the JMO bomb, some of the things we've seen from Green Bay, when they do move the ball, it's been decent plays. So I'm scared to take this under.
Yeah, I don't think under is in the cards. I mean,
especially when it gets late early. So,
and it also I just don't understand really what the Packers' offensive approach has been in this game.
Is there any way for us to I know it's 1.5, so legitimately we have like a point and a half middle. But I mean, if you wanted to buy out of anything you had Detroit, if you're able to get Detroit 5-6, you could buy out with this right now.
Do you feel like doing that?
You're just not
Packers. Do you think the Packers? Do you think the Packers run away with this?
No, I don't.
Look, if the Packers, okay, so the Packers do not get the ball first. They had the ball first and got a field goal. So the Lions get the ball first, which is not good if you want to bet Packers.
Yep.
If the Packers do get a stop and a score, like the Lions are so good. Like coming from big deficit, like. There are too many weapons, and prevent defense. Like this team carves. I feel like this ends as a 3-point game. I think the Packers probably win by 3.
If I didn't have a pregame bet, I would take the +1.5 on the Lions.
I think I would too. You want to do that then? Let's just make it the
Lions. Bet if I didn't have that action, I would already.
Here we are, a big old fat Lions podcast.
Yeah.
Let's hope the Lions win and really fuck up the Packers' chances to get to the playoffs.
I love Campbell's quote though. Yeah, we knew we were out, but the motivation is to keep them out now. And he just like his bottom 4 teeth are so chaw stained, like
Loved it.
just
Loved
dirt
it.
black on those teeth.
Loved it. I'm surprised he didn't have chaw in his mouth when he said it.
I think
Yeah.
he did. I think he might have had
Okay. I couldn't see it. I was looking for it. I was looking for it.
Call it a baby, just a little.
I was looking for it. Look, man, Will. If you think for a hot second I am not hoping against hope that the Packers continue to improbably win because this team sucks, but they can still win the NFC. I'm hoping it happens, but man, I am not going to have my ass exposed when the clock hits midnight on these guys. Like they suck.
We don't
like they're not good.
Let's do this for Wednesday too then. And we don't put we'll talk about it. It's not like we're hiding our.
I'm gonna bet him again against the Niners if that's how it opens.
If it's a big number,
if it opens a big old points.
No, I'm saying for the my brain kind of went towards, hey, the NFC sucks. And we have our power numbers. They don't mean as much later in the year. That especially in the playoffs, things are different. But independently, I don't want to see yours. I don't want you to show me early. You're going to update your power numbers. I'm not saying like, hey, you should do this thing that you're already going to do anyway. We'll both,
should I?
Let's both update our power numbers and then
let's do that.
Pull out all the AFC teams.
Step 1, step 2. Okay.
And then let's just show like where we have our NFC.
Yeah.
Because it's a clusterfuck.
Yeah. No, there's no NFC team right now as constituted that is warranting more than a field goal to the good in a power number. Even the Niners.
Yeah. Mine are going to be, I think the word for it is clumpy. Clumpy.
Yeah. I'm going to bet the Packers next week, even if I know like the Packers may not be there. This may be Niners Seahawks, which is hysterical. Third time. More money on the Seahawks fire. Let's fucking go. No, but like if the Packers come through this, I'm going to bet them again against the Niners. It's not going to feel good, but it's fucking Brock Purdy's first ever playoff game. Like he's going to shit his pants. Like I don't know what else to tell you.
We've been waiting for this guy to.
It's going to happen. He's going to shit himself on the field.
He's got the proverbial cork up his ass.
Do you remember?
We're waiting for him to shit. He will not do it.
Do you remember? You want to have a fun moment in playoff debutante history? You remember Josh Allen's first playoff game? It was against the Houston Texans. There was a moment in that game where Josh Allen ran into the line of scrimmage and decided, oh, fuck, this was a bad decision. I need to throw it over my head backwards the other way. You remember that, right?
He'd run off to the right, and he stopped, and he just like...
It's like, oh, go throw it that way. Like, literally, quarterbacks lose their ever-fucking-loving minds and their first playoff starts. It is fair, you can set your clock to it.
Playing in the Mountain West is not the same as playing in the NFL playoffs. Where's Brock Purdy is a Big 12 quarterback, guys.
Brock Purdy was that's a good point.
He was decent for those. Those teams were always like those Irish people were like
Brock Purdy is gonna do some things. If you bet on Brock Purdy next week, Brock Purdy will do something in that game that I promise you makes you think, I bet on Brock Purdy today.
I'm gonna go watch that.
Holy fucking shit! I bet on Brock Purdy today.
Didn't hurt him either, did it?
I don't remember, but it was so hysterical. It was so hysterical.
Or somebody recovered it.
I think it mattered, but I don't really remember. It was so hysterically bad. It was so bad. That type of shit happens in every single really, really good quarterback's first playoff start.
You know what? I'm gonna attest to this, and I'm gonna follow it up with an anecdote of my own from my career. So it was I was playing nose guard or somewhere in the middle of the defensive line. A good friend of mine who was much taller and more athletic was a defensive end, and we both got through on a punt. and it was very close to the opposing end zone. And he came around the side and he got a hand on it, blocked it. And where I was coming through, the ball was right in front of me. And all of a sudden, and this is not apples to apples, I know, but it's crazy. Like, I didn't play much offense. I wasn't very good.
Oh, no.
When you see the ball in front of you, your brain just turns into like a trillion things are going on at once, and all of your body stops working. I remember I was going to pick it up. I just fell down. I just fell on. I think the quarter or the punter might have tripped me a little.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure there's no tape in this. I'm pretty sure I just fell down. And I remember trying, because my friend was still in the area, and I was at like the 1 yard line. And I remember rolling and trying to pretend like I never recovered it. It never had, and I just threw it into the end zone for him. And they're like, "No, you had the ball. You're down." That was my touchdown. That was my touchdown play. That was my Brock Purdy moment.
That was your moment.
Yeah, my football career was something. I have. I'll save my other stories for another day. But it is wild where. Like big moments like that, not everybody can handle them.
It takes a special constitution. Here's the other funny thing is that like there are certain players who succeed in their first playoff stretch, but like the insanity that goes on to get them their win in the debutante performance is it's always crazy. Tom Brady, I don't know if you've heard of him. Andy, do you remember Tom Brady?
I do.
He won a Super Bowl in his first playoff run.
First half bet today.
Do you remember his playoff debutante experience?
I mean, this had to be like 2002.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was like a senior in high school. This is probably the same year that of the famed punt recovery. Block 2002.
It might have happened.
I mean, these were happening. At the same time.
Like lo and behold, a month later, Tom Brady won his first playoff game.
I do recall
in ignominious fashion.
I do recall watching the Raiders playoff game. Where they brushed the snow away.
Now
from
we're talking
the basement. My girlfriend's grandmother's basement. I got into town. There's a bad snowstorm there too. Watched it down there, and I'm like, can they do that? R.I.P.
Do you remember the most famous play from that game?
Yeah, it was not. I know it wasn't.
It was not moving. It was not moving the snow.
They don't call that the brushing the snow away game.
It was the tuck rule. Yes. Tom Brady was not good in that game. If you didn't know already, that was a 16-3 win by the Patriots on the back of some absolute insanity. Brady was
Teddy Bruschi was.
Brady threw the ball 52 times in that game. What? He was 32 of 52 for 312. I guess he was better than I remember. At least he was more effective than I remember. He fumbled. They called it a pass, and the Patriots won. And the rest is history. That was insane. Last year, Joe Burrow made a run to the Super Bowl in his first ever playoff experience. They probably should have lost the game against the Raiders. People forget. Like the Raiders had the ball driving, and
if we had instant replay for the Tucker game, like they don't win the game, right? I think you look at that enough. Because eventually they just came up with the tuck rule after the fact. They watched it later, like, well, we have to say something about this.
There has to be some sort of rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Last year, Carr and the Raiders were driving, and they were, in position to beat the Bengals in the round one game. Carr, he threw a ball that hit a guy in the helmet late in that game that prevented them from scoring a touchdown. It was very weird.
Did they have replay? I don't remember replay being that old.
I'm sure. No, they had replay, but it was still
it was different.
It was definitely not. We're going to Sea Caucus for the call here. It was literally like make the guy stand out in the freezing cold, and and see it on the tiny screen that's worse than current resolution of an iPhone, and make a decision, and then go out in front of the crowd and tell them how it went. All that said, that was fluky. And actually, what's funny about that game and about Tom Brady's first ever playoff run, he didn't even start the next game. I think it was that, or if he started, he got hurt. That was a Drew Bledsoe game, who ultimately beat the Steelers in Heinz Field 24-17 to send the Patriots to the Super Bowl and what would be the team of destiny's first ever Super Bowl. So that's just to say, even with very special individuals at quarterback, playoff experience number one can be absolute hell on wheels.
Yeah, and somebody in the chat pointed out that Kurt Warner's first playoff game, he put up a 50-piece. But he was built quite differently. And I will say, don't watch that movie they made about him. That's bad.
The American Underdog.
That's very bad.
Kurt Warner's first ever playoff game, he hung on 50. Wow. He's the exception that proves the rule.
That's fair.
He also lost to Tom Brady. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh my God, Goff is so slow.
Oh, he's incredibly slow. It's tough. It's a rough thing.
3-0 for our Lions.
He should have made that easy. He did not. We need the Lions defense to step up. What's that? He worked at a grocery store.
Yeah.
How many playoff wins?
He married the bad guy from the end of Ghostbusters.
Yes, he did.
Crew cut lady.
Yes, he did.
I can't confirm that's the same person.
He got married to the Gozier's.
Are you a god?
Gozier's.
I don't know.
I don't remember. I didn't entirely understand Ghostbusters. I'll be honest with you.
I feel like the amount of coke
there was a lot. There was a lot. Right. There was.
This makes sense.
There was a lot of like. There was a lot of like other ghosts helping ghosts open portals that I didn't get ultimately. Like I didn't really know why there had to be
a gatekeeper,
a gatekeeper, and a keymaster, and someone who was ultimately
and then they just turned into dogs.
Yeah, and then the Gozier stuff was funny. I mean, Ghostbusters was amazing. Bill Murray was incredible. Gozier. Yeah, they were on some fucking drugs. That was druggy if I've ever heard it. Yeah. The Kurt Warner playoff experience is fun. He had a run from 99, 0, and 01 where he was incredible. He started 7 playoff games in that stretch, and then he had a huge gap and then came back in 08 and 09 and started 6 more playoff games.
Well, wasn't that Arizona though?
Yeah, he was a different team.
Oh yeah.
In the interim, he went to the Giants and then got benched for Eli Manning. You remember those weird days?
Very weird. Strange.
Kurt Warner. Yeah. Weird career. Probably going to the Hall of Fame. Yeah. He was inducted as a player in 2017. Kurt Warner was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 2017.
I mean, he was the greatest show on turf.
Don't
watch the Hall of Fame.
I mean, if we're going to put Kurt Warner in, then we got to be putting like Philip Rivers in.
Everyone.
Right? I mean, if Kurt Warner's getting in, then Philip Rivers is getting in, right?
Did you see this? I think I'm done now.
Hey, I'll be honest.
He's in. I stopped watching the Hall of Fame things after the
Deshaun Watson's not. Deshaun Watson's not.
Remember the giant dude? Hall of Fame giant dude.
Hall of Fame giant dude.
Big guy. David Baker. He retired.
David Baker.
Remember David Baker? There's a picture of him wearing a hard hat, and it's like this. It doesn't fit his giant head because he's like 7'8", 420. After he was gone, I'm done.
All right. So
Yeah, I mean,
uh
I don't think it's
I'm still
3.5
laughing at
anywhere. Is
Deshaun
it?
Watson as a slimmer.
Has Chris put up the lines for the
I'm
playoffs?
not
I
going to
gotta go
call
get some
Deshaun
goddamn
Watson
milk.
Slimer because I liked Slimer. Slimer was a childhood joy.
Kind of ruins Ecto Cooler for me.
I, you think? Ew.
Eesh.
Eesh.
That's the
Yeah,
best
no,
I've seen.
we're not going to disparage the legacy of Slimer by giving any kind of Deshaun Watson corollary there. And by the way, Deshaun Watson, miserable today. We already covered it. He was
Wasn't
fucking
good.
awful today. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's
He
not
didn't.
right.
He didn't throw to alignment at least this week.
Yeah, but also like, what's going on with him? Like, his arm was a joke. His his ability to read the defense and get the ball out was not a thing. He was an atrocity today as far as a quarterback.
I do wonder how seriously he took this last stretch, because it's not like, I think he's kind of in a spot where, despite being in a shitload of legal trouble that has since come and gone,
I love this comment from
I think
Jones.
I mean, Drew, how seriously do you think he took his training and shit? Like, knowing that this team's probably going nowhere. They're coming in for
I'm
the
not
last 5
sure.
games.
I'm not sure.
And it's like, I mean, was there a situation where he plays so poorly they can't use him next year? I mean, the contract makes sure of that. Like, he's got a job.
You want to engender yourself to the coaching staff, I would assume.
I don't know. I feel like he might have been distracted by other stuff.
I don't know, man. I like this DeLuca Jones comment. Rivers will QB sneak into the Hall of Fame from the one. Not if you don't get this joke. Philip Rivers was the all-time worst quarterback sneaker, I think, of any quarterback. And if he does not get into the Hall of Fame, it's because he was stoned at the one trying to sneak in. Like, that's how it goes. I think Philip Rivers deserves to go in, though. What do you think?
I don't have like Hall of Fame takes. Like, people have been arguing Eli Manning for 10 years and it bores me. It's like the Pro Bowl stuff. Like, I don't care. It's funny. So my 2 takes, and then I'm gonna run because I got to pick up some milk yet. The store closes soon. Oh, it doesn't. I got time. The Hall of Fame arguments are so boring to me, and I hate them. Like I just said, going to the Hall of Fame was like a religious experience. That place is so cool. Like, the actual building with all the displays and everything, it was the coolest fucking thing I've been to in a long time. It was a long time since I've been there. So, I hate the Hall of Fame, but you should go there. That's my take.
Signed collectibles, can't do it. Sablanka was fucking awesome this week. God damn, she was good. She was so good this week. Every time I watched her play, I was like, I'd getting out of the chair 5 times. Like, yes, great fucking point. Like, she is playing really, really well right now. If it's almost now or never for her in a slam.
It's now or never.
What's your read? What's your read? Were you fired up by Sabs? I still think I still think the draw is going to depend on a lot.
Draw dependent.
I think Iga is vulnerable. I think who's not going to win is Naomi Osaka, who was still weirdly in the top 3 at a lot of books in the futures market last week, who clearly was not going to play. Serena Williams also probably not going to win. It's just kind of going through some of the names. I think Iga can be beat.
Sabs, I just don't not like it. Her game doing it for like 7 matches is tough. She runs into something like who's run Kvitova. Run into Kvitova. You like?
Oh no, not Kvitova.
She's playing as well as anybody right now. Like, there's a bunch of these above average to good players. Or
there's a bunch. So I would be more worried about like the really, really good like young class of players, right? Like the
Lindas and Brendas.
The Lindas and Brendas and shit. Yeah. They're scarier to me than really like anyone that's 18-year-old from Czech Republic scares me. But no, I think realistically, I think.
I'm a committed guy.
Oh man.
I know.
Okay.
Just trying to pull a name.
I get what you're saying though. I like it, like best like slam tennis, even though best of 3.
Who could have
Isn't
seen
any
this?
different?
Who could? So first off,
Yeah.
4th and 7, it's tough to go for that. But I would have adjusted my 3rd down play for this if you're Green Bay, because who could have seen this coming? Where the last 2 field goals just barely scrape the fucking paint of the crossbar to get over, and you try
53 is going to make it though, Andy.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It hasn't worked for anyone else, but it might work.
For us. 53, Andy.
Not quite.
Almost had it.
This is a perfect final
score.
Not only is this a good final score for our bets, it's good because Top Cocky will make fun of it when it ends 6-9. It is cold in Green Bay. That's true. I'm gonna go warm up my truck. It's cold here too. All right, guys. I'm gonna, like I said, I have to go pick up milk for the missus. I'm gonna watch the second half of this at home. I'm gonna, try to figure out if you have some prop plays. I'll put something on Twitter. Looking for some fun props to play in the Natty. I love props way more than sides or totals in a big game like that. So let's go. We'll see you.
Hey, did the Deep Dive Discord have any plays for Wildcard Weekend?
I think they were kind of keen on Cincy. I'll have to check.
Okay.
Do